watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, right? And what I shall answer when I am reproved. It says, and the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. And it's speaking now, so we know we're at the end. It says, and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. So even though it didn't come 2000, we're waiting for it, you know? And the elect gotta wake up, and the Most High said it this way, you know? So all we can do is wait, you know? It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, right? And that's talking about Esau, Edom, the Caucasians. But the just shall live by his faith, and that's what we're doing, you know, because we believe in this stuff. Yet also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell. So what, they take all these different lands and claim them for themselves, you know, and they just like to expand and put people under them, you know. And when it says that he transgresseth by wine, that's talking about these different philosophies. They get into witchcraft, you know, all sorts of things. It says and is as deaf, and cannot be satisfied, but gather unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And that's what they do, right? That's why we're in the condition right now, because what, they just took everybody, and now we're just a boiling pot. Verse 6, shall not all these take up a parable against him? So all these nations, especially the Israelites, right, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. It says not to remove the ancient landmarks, and that's what they do. It says, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And when it says clay right here, it's talking about debt. It's talking about the debt. Let me get one. Let's see. See. And this is Isaiah. Actually, let's keep going with the video a little bit more.
He's saying what we've said for it's neo-feudalism. Basically, people are living in debt their entire lives.
Yeah, it's feudalism. So feudalism, of course, was dominant in the Dark Ages and the Middle Ages. And it's a system that the top 1/10 of 1% love. You know, they love to be feudal lords and lord it over everybody. And so the period of American history where you had this booming middle class, and I mean, that was an anomaly. That was a strange freak of history. So now we're going back to the more normal history of having serfs and lords.
You know, one of the solutions that is being offered and proffered around in the United States by the likes of AOC.
Okay, well, real quick, this is Isaiah 33, verse 1. It says, woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. O Lord, be gracious unto us, talking about to the Israelites, right? The elect of the nation of Israel at this time. We have waited for thee, right? Be thou their arm every morning, our salvation also in the time of trouble, because that time that Jacob's trouble is approaching, you can feel it. At the noise of the tumult, the people fled. At the lifting up of thyself, the nations were scattered. Right? It says, shall a trumpet be blowed in the city, and the people not be afraid? It says, and your spoil shall be gathered like the gathering of the caterpillar, as the running to and fro of locusts shall he run upon them. Right? So they're not going to be able to escape. It says, the Lord is exalted, for he dwelleth on high. He hath filled Zion with judgment and righteousness. Right? Let me go to... let's keep playing.
AOC
Get through
and
this.
younger people is MMT. I basically just do the opposite of what we do now, which is we have a Federal Reserve Bank who prints up a lot of money and gives it to the banks and the people on Wall Street and whoever is closest to those powerful elites, i.e. the corporations, Hollywood, Silicon Valley. Those people get the money first. It creates a Cantillon effect. Whoever gets the money first, 0% or 2% interest rates, their wealth rises as the asset prices rise, and the bottom is, stuck with these high levels of interest rates and ever declining standards of living. And that brings us to what we believe might be a solution is that, how this all began, where America became a rich country after World War II, especially, the booming middle class. And then it all fell apart. When did it fall apart? Well, if you look at this chart, the Great Prosperity, 1947 to 1979, and the Great Regression, 1980 to now. And you see that workers stopped being compensated for the work they were creating, the work they were doing. That's when they became serfs, right? That's when they started going into debt. And what was that? Well,
you see this? Let me wait.
You can see they say 1979, but actually they started to depression 1980, the booming middle class. And then it all fell apart. When did it fall apart? Well, if you look at this chart, the Great Prosperity, 1947 to 1979, and the Great Regression, 1980 to now. And you see that workers stopped being compensated for the work they were creating, the work they were doing. That's when they became serfs, right? That's when they started going into debt. And what was that? Well, you could see they say 1979, but actually they started to disconnect from about 1971, 72, when the U.S. went off the gold standard. And nobody knew anymore actually how to measure anything because it was all then fake and in the hands of a select few at the Federal Reserve Bank and the member banks.
Right, the number one manufacturer.
This is Proverbs 24:1. It says, be not thou envious against evil men, neither desire to be with them. So you don't want to go down with these the wicked, because they're just being wicked by putting everybody into this debt slavery. You don't want to go out like that. It says because we don't want to be in alliance with somebody like that. Verse 2, for their heart, their mind, studieth destruction, and their lips talk of mischief. You think that they just did this out of the blue and was like, oh, we just gonna see how this works. No, they knew about this already. That's why it works so good. That's why they got the minds of the people are so confused and nobody could speak against it,
Manufacturing product in America starting in 1971 was debt. That's what America became the global leader in, creating debt. And most of the debt is borne by anyone who's not creating and selling the debt, right? So Wall Street is a debt creator and seller of debt. And so they get the fees to sell the debt. Everyone else is suffering the consequences of being sold debt. And this is a technique that the U.S. has used as part of the American empire for decades around the world. So Latin American countries, Central American countries in particular, have been, if you read John Perkins' Confessions of an Economic Hitman, you know that America uses debt to expand its empire. It's an empire of debt. And then when these countries ran out of countries to invade with debt, then these debt sellers on Wall Street turned inward. They simply went to America's middle class, and they said, we're going to turn you into a third world country for us.
Look, this is Psalms 38, and start at 1. It says, O Lord, rebuke me not in thy wrath, neither chasten me in thy hot displeasure. Right? We're getting chastised right now by going through this captivity. Right? We're in this captivity because what? We weren't serving the Most High with all joy. You know, we were rebelling against the Most High as a nation. That's why we're here. It says, verse 2, For thine arrows stick fast in me, and thy hand presseth me sore. Right? There is no soundness in my flesh because of thine anger, neither is there any rest in my bones because of my sin. For mine iniquities are gone over my head, as a heavy burden they are too heavy for me. My wounds stink and are corrupt because of my foolishness. Right? I am troubled, I am bowed down greatly, I go mourning all the day long. You know, we go to work almost every day, right? Just for one check to go to Esau, and then the other check to be our backup, just in case something would happen. You know, we're living day by day. You know, right, in this captivity. The Most High really struck us. He put that arrow, he put that judgment upon us. You know, but we have hope that what he's not just gonna leave us here. Yahawashi, right, already died for our sins, right? So we just got to push this work until the end, you know, and we're going to be saved, you know. Lord willing, we are a part of that elect, right? You can't take that microchip, which is the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast, you know. And if you do take it, that's rebelling against the Most High again, so you get that judgment. This is good, right? It's right here too. This is Psalms 37 and 35. Oh, 34 actually. It says, Wait on the Lord and keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it. And that's what we want to see, the destruction of our enemies. I have seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a green bay tree. That's what we was just reading in Habakkuk 2, right? That increaseth his desire as hell, roughly paraphrasing. It says, Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yet I sought him, but he could not be found. And that's in the kingdom of heaven when we exterminate these devils. Mark the perfect man, and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. And you just watch the that's really going after those that are really trying to get into this truth, right, and really trying to understand and actually living by this thing. You can't just read it, you got to live by these words, right? It says, but the transgressors shall be destroyed together, the end of the wicked shall be cut off. It says, but the salvation of the righteous is of the Lord. So the elect, in the eyes of the Most High, the elect are righteous. He is their strength in the time of trouble. So what? We're not going to be trusting in guns. We're not going to be trusting in bunkers or anything like that. We're going to be trusting in the Lord. And the Lord shall help them and deliver them, right? And that takes miracles. You know, that takes angels intervening. You know, and that takes immense faith. And the Lord shall help them and deliver them. He shall deliver them from the wicked and save them because they trust in him. Right? All right, let's keep going.
Us. and they've been successful. So now these debt sellers on Wall Street turned inward. They simply went to America's middle class, and they said, we're going to turn you into a third world country for us. And they've been successful. So now you have third world America living within the borders of, from sea to shining sea of debt.
Well, in fact, it's not everybody who's poor. The boomers are very wealthy indeed. They have the assets. They were in first on this global Ponzi scheme from the 1970s. And it's no coincidence, I believe, that we went off the gold standard. Who were the ones being conscripted into the Vietnam War? Boomers. They were the ones that basically saw the real cost of.
Okay, this is Jeremiah 50, verse 33, right? This is talking about our captivity. It says, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. That's talking about the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom, right? The southern kingdom is Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. The northern kingdom is Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, and Issachar, right? So they were already over here, according to 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, and I guess like 40 or 38 and down, something like that. Right? It says, verse 34, their Redeemer is strong, the Lord of hosts is his name. So he's going to redeem us out of this situation. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. So you know this place got to be destroyed. You know these people got to die. Let's keep going on this video.
Of war, right? And the U.S. went bankrupt. As all empires go bankrupt because of the cost of war. That's the number one reason that nations go bankrupt. And we went off the gold standard, then we could have all the wars we wanted. But this pyramid scheme structure of our economy started with the boomers. And they got in at the cheap assets before the money printing began, before the Cantillon effect really took shape. So they were first in. The Cantillon effect benefits them because they're closest, they were earliest in on this. Now we have this next generation of millennials and Zoomers, or Generation Z. And one thing you hear in much of the boomer-owned press and